the holidays are here. Children are at home. From 1, 2, 3 walifunga shule. Sindio?
Yes.
From 4 ndio wanamalizia exam alafu wakuja funga shule. They'll be adults. Wezi ambia mambo mengi. We've gone through it. We even burnt the books. Considering, yes, finishing our exams. What are you saying? We'll have a conversation about then how they come and how they behave during the holidays. Nicole Molly Abekah is a youth advocate and for adolescent health and rights, and she's our guest. And she's here alongside Hamisi Mwambodze, who is a parent and also somebody who campaigns against sexual and gender-based violence. Hamisi, Nicole, good morning.
Good morning.
Karibuni sana to Kenya's biggest conversation. As a hot seat of the situation. How does it feel, Nicole?
Feels good.
You're easy, you're relaxed. Right? Ati, you're an advocate and adolescent for adolescents and health rights. What does that mean?
An advocate for sexual reproductive health and rights is someone who advocates for rights, sexual rights, is someone who advocates for access to sexual reproductive health rights information, advocating for comprehensive sexual information, someone who advocates for empowering young people or young adolescents on matters sex. Yes.
So someone who advocates for sex rights for adolescents. Someone will just pick that bit. So just clarify. Are you advocating that that adolescents have a right?
No. What are these rights?
Yes.
Rights of consent.
Right.
The age of consent in Kenya is 18. So a child, we consider people under the age of 18 as children. So as a child, you know you don't have the right to consent. So you should not engage in sexual activities. And when someone forces you to engage in sexual activities, you know that you have a right to report this. You know that you have a right to seek justice. So when you're talking about sexual rights, we're actually telling you that you have a right to say no when there is need. Yes.
Right, I get it. Hamisi,
Yes.
you also are involved in campaigning and creating a lot of awareness about sexual and gender-based violence. And you're a parent yourself.
Yes.
So how do you do this?
First of all, I'm a parent and I'm also a CHP, community health promoter from my area. So I do these campaigns through my households, through chiefs barazas. We do have sometimes we have meetings with youth groups. So I do go and advocate for that sex education there.
Okay.
That is what I do.
Okay.
Yes.
So karibuni sana. The first thing that we're going to do is we'll welcome you with the day's proverb. The job that you have is to listen to the proverb and Siti, do what?
First, you will interpret the proverb from the language of Kiswahili to the language of English. Then you will tell us what you think the proverb means. Our proverbs for this week are from the Republic of Kenya, and they're in Kiswahili. Now the proverb, lisilo na budi hutendwa.
Lisilo na budi hutendwa. Nicole, you go first.
Lisilo na budi hutendwa.
Yes, in English?
In English, it's hey.
What?
Okay, that's English.
Lisilo na budi hutendwa. Kiswahili is a bit challenging.
Why don't you just take a wild guess?
Lisilo na budi, something that does not have much importance, or hutendwa.
Go on.
Should be done or is done.
You've taken, yes, and you've proceeded. Good.
Lisilo na budi hutendwa. It's like where there's no road, there must be a road.
Yeah.
Spot on.
No, Hamisi, because that's why we're Kiswahili na Kimanya.
Yeah, Kiswahili na Kimanya.
And there are very many people who are not getting this thing.
Yes.
What is the direct translation of lisilo na budi?
In Kiswahili, in English.
Yeah, Kiswahili to English.
Kiswahili to English.
Yes.
Lisilo na budi hutendwa.
Yes.
Yes. Sasa it's like I'm a parent. Do you see that? My child needs a book or school fees. I must do whatever I can to provide that book or the school fees to my daughter or to my son. Yes.
What has to be done has to be done.
Yes.
In short.
Or what needs to be done has to be done.
Nicole, you get it?
Yes.
You get it? You get it now? Very good. So what's your translation of that then? What's your interpretation of it?
The meaning, my interpretation is, to us as parents, we are here to educate parents on sex education. Parents, please, sit with your children. The schools have been closed. They're from 2 to 1 to 3 at home. Form 4s are coming home very soon on 22nd. So please have time. Have time with your children. Talk with them confidently. Don't be shy to your daughter or to your son. That's the meaning of that proverb.
Nicole, same for you?
For me, I believe that I'm a comprehensive sexual educator. And as adolescents, adolescence is a stage of curiosity. Like, young people are very curious and they seek exploration. So young parents, because we have young parents, we also have old parents. So parents should take responsibility on teaching their children on comprehensive sexual education. They should give them factual information to help them make informed decision. Because if I tell you that engaging in early sex has consequences, then you'll listen to me. But if I don't tell you this, then you'll engage in sex and you might experience these consequences. Then who will I blame as a parent? So it is parents' responsibility to teach their children on comprehensive sexual education. Yes.
How do you think that's currently happening? How do you think parents are talking to their children about sex and sexual behavior right now? How is it happening? Before we even get to how does it make young people feel, how is it happening from what you know?
From what I know, growing up in a household full of girls, my mom was very open with us. She created a safe space for us to converse about such things because we are 3 girls in our home. So she taught us on the importance of using protection if at all you are engaging in sexual activities. But the main thing she advocated for was abstinence. But a lot of parents, I don't think they talk about sex with their children, comprehensive sexuality education with their children, majorly because of cultural norms, which find conversations around sex as a taboo. They think that when you're talking about comprehensive sexuality education, we are teaching young people to engage in early sexual activities, but that is contrary to the point. When we talk about comprehensive sexuality education, we are empowering young women or young girls, young boys to take charge of their lives. We are telling them that they have rights. We are telling them that they can take control of their body autonomy. And it also empowers them to make right decisions. Yes.
How should parents be talking to young people? Because the first one was, how are they talking to young people? And I think just based on what young people may say, they feel as though, you know what, if you're a little bit more open with me, then maybe I would have more information and I would make better decisions. How should parents be talking to young people about sex and sexual behavior?
First, to me, parents must be friends to their sons and daughters, first and foremost, so that they can open to their daughters and sons, the parents, even the guardians, even the community. Because when we grew up, we were community-led children. A parent could not see somebody's daughter being harassed or being taken out of the way by somebody and let her or he do that thing. He or she could take the advantage of the parent and stop that habit. So the parent first, they have to be friends. They have to become friends with their children. So from there, they'll sit and discuss and get and listen to the children to come out with each and everything that they have on matters of sex.
Okay.
Yes.
Is that why people have been so nervous? Because this year, like any other year, school closed, right?
Yes.
People are going to finish exams. next week, and then they'll be at home for a month plus. But interestingly enough, at the beginning of the holidays, at the beginning of end of October, we started seeing articles and people were saying, "Oh, school is going to be closed for 2 months. What are we going to do?" And I thought to myself, is it the first time? School closed for 2 months last year, did it not? It closed for 2 months the year before that, did it not?
And they said the same things.
And they said the same thing. So what is it that we suddenly feel that now when people are at home, they're going to start exploring the unexplorables and start discussing the undiscussables? Where is that fear coming from? That now because they're at home for 2 months, there's nobody to engage them, there's nothing to do, and then now you start getting involved in the things that you ought not to? Why are we so nervous?
As you all know, an idle mind is a breeding ground for risky behaviors. And when the children are at home, they have a lot of free time. Like, they have so much time and they have nothing to do. And I think what's causing the alarm is the statistics that recently came out about 41% of the new HIV infections in Kenya are of young people aged 15 to 35, and about 18% of that are young people aged 15 to 24 years old. So parents are concerned if most of the new infections are of young people, then what are our children doing? Are they going to engage in sex? Are they going to engage in sexual activities and get this disease? What should we do to curb this disaster? And also the rising issues on femicide. You've seen that young girls, young women aged 19, aged 21 their dead bodies are being found lying around in forests and everywhere. So parents are concerned. How are we going to keep our children safe from these things that are happening? So that is what is raising the concern mostly at this time.
Okay, so help me out here, because obviously you operate in these spaces. Are we saying that today, everybody who was involved in what are kids studying in up to class 8 now? Science, biology, whatever. And then we get to high school, you're doing the biology, Kiswahili. Are we saying that you, in that moment as well, that young people have sex on the brain, and then now when you get out of school, now it is pro max and it needs to be curtailed? Is that what we're saying? That we've really become so overly sexualized that something needs to be done about it? Are we at a problem place?
Yes, we have a problem there. It's not only the ones who are coming from school, there are also dropouts from school. There is a lot of poverty in our setups. There are so many drugs, alcohols in our setups. So, as we see now, and as we sit here right up now, there were demolitions, there were floods. Like where I come from, the floods made life to be so hard, seriously, plus the demolitions. So there are so many dropouts from school. There are so many young ones who are very vulnerable with their families, their fathers and mothers divorced. There are so many divorces. So you see the young ones who are coming from school and the ones who are still at the community are seeing sex as a normal thing. Because it is now being practiced by the young age. It is in the social media.
Yep.
They can access it.
Yep.
So it's up to the parents, the church leaders and the Muslim leaders, all the religious leaders, to come together, the administration, non-governmental organizations, to assist these children, plus their families, all the fathers and mothers, to curb this menace of sex.
You know,
Yes.
It's not that many parents don't try, right? I mean, you engage with parents all the time.
Yes.
It's not that they do not want to, but sometimes they're not able to. What is it that prevents parents from having these conversations with their children, particularly their adolescent children?
There's culture and there's a religion there. Yes. Culture and religion.
So what about them?
Sorry.
As I said earlier, cultural norms, we have taboos around talking about topics around sex. It is a taboo to talk to your children. Some cultures believe that it is a taboo to talk to your children about sex. And it is a taboo to talk to your children about contraceptives. And it is a taboo to talk to your children about relationships. So that is what is preventing parents from talking to their children.
You know, the fear of adolescents contracting sexually transmitted diseases or HIV, that has been with us from the time we understood what HIV was.
Yes.
That the adolescents and those who are in that bracket, that age bracket of adolescents, have often carried the burden of the prevalence is also a constant. But what perhaps not mentioned is that the prevalence of HIV has actually gone down in this country. You're talking about 1996, was at around 10%. We're talking about 4.3% now. However, when one talks of risky behavior, one must understand that we are in the information age and that it is very easy for young people to get information that previously one would not easily access. And that's where your point comes in, because you have time on your hands and you have access to this information. There's a lot you'll explore. There is a lot that you'll be able to do with that information. But the same gadgets that we fear will give the adolescents information that may be harmful to them is the same gadget that can actually be very useful if utilized properly. Now, when one talks of this age, what then must parents do to ensure that the time is utilized well? We understand parents are struggling right now, and the issue of children going to school is a problem. The children staying at home is a problem. What must parents do? Or let me ask a different question. What would the young people want the parents to do? Because that is perhaps a more pertinent question. Because they're the ones who are on holiday. What would they like to see the parents doing for them so that they can occupy their times well?
As a young person, speaking on behalf of young people, what they'd want their parents to do, I believe if we engage them in meaningful activities, like maybe taking them to theater schools or just taking them to activities that will help them grow mentally, like enrolling them in maybe leadership classes and things like that, will help curb this idle time, because now they have a lot of time on their hands doing nothing. So when you involve them in such activities, they don't have as much time. And also, we've talked about the information age, where we have information on the internet. I believe parents should be able to monitor their children's online presence, because majority of the time you scroll through TikTok and you find so many things that do not align with our morals and our beliefs. We find around 9, 10 or around midnight, people are engaging in very I'd call them unethical things on the internet, and our children are exposed to this. So when you monitor their online presence, for example, young people aged 15 to 19, you should tell them you are able to use your phone from this time to this time to do these particular things, because we, as he has said, we get information online. Sometimes you Google search something and you get the answer to it, meaning technology is very important, but technology is also very risky. And when you give your phone to a child without monitoring what they're doing with this phone, then you're misleading them, because they will get all sorts of information that sometimes may lead them astray. And majority of the time you find that the information online is very misleading. And we also have a lot of peer pressure online, because you find, young girls are going on vacation, they're talking about mubabas. This is a lot of peer pressure, and because someone is poor and because of poverty, now they're using transactional sex to cater for their needs. So I feel like parents should make sure that they monitor their children's online presence and engage them in meaningful activities.
We're having a conversation today. So school holiday season is here with us. What's the role of parents in shaping teenagers' views on sex during the holiday break? Nicole Abekah is a youth advocate for sexual reproductive health rights for adolescents. Hamisi Mwambodze is a parent and community health promoter, and also somebody who is a very big campaigner against sexual and gender-based violence. What's the role of parents in shaping teenagers' views on sex during the holiday break? As we're going to the break, Nicole, you said what you think parents should be doing is be more proactive, like continuously monitor what your children are consuming on the internet, and also limit the time that they have on the internet, right? And also other roles that they should play. Hamisi, what do you think the youth would like the parents to do? Because that's a question that City asked. What do the youth feel from your interaction with them that the parents should do?
From interaction with the youth wants their parents to listen to them rather than the parents
to tell them.
That is the generation we're having now. So, as I said earlier, the parents should listen to their sons and daughters very, very well. After listening to them, the discussion will start from there. And they have to be good friends. The parents should be friends to their sons and daughters.
What is the mark of a good friendly parent? When a youth comes and tells me...
friendly listening parent.
Good friendly listening. When this adolescent is speaking to the parent, and they're saying, this is what I'd like to do.
Yes.
I'd like to go out with my friends,
yes.
right? For example, I have actually a friend that who had this kind of... So the son was like, I want to go out. I want to hang out with my friends, Saturday night, just go, chill. And then we'll be back home by midnight. What's bringing? I'm not going to drink. I'm not going to do all those things. Let me just go out. So their expectation is that you'll say yes.
Yes.
And if you say no, then you have not listened.
Yes.
So how should you respond?
So you have to be
as a listening parent.
You have to be a parent. If he tells you, if she tells you she wants to go to the bash, just sit with her or with him. Tell him or her the consequences of that bash. Already the teenager was telling his father he's not going to drink, to smoke. That is just a telling. But surely outside there, is there no smoking or drinking? So you have to create, to be creative to your son or to your daughter with your words, so that he or she can understand you. That's the only way. By beating him or her, it won't help. Abusing her or him, it won't help.
If you say no, then you're not listening and caring. You don't trust me, right?
Yes.
If you say yes,
he's going to be spoiled.
Yeah.
Yes.
Where's the balance?
How's the balance? Yeah.
Nicole, that's you.
I believe our parents should trust us. When I tell you I am going out, I will be back by 6, I expect you to trust me. Because if you trust me, then I will not want to break this trust, so that next time when I ask to go out, you won't give me the permission. And when you set boundaries with your kids and tell them, okay, I trust you, go, but then come back home before 7. And you don't incorporate, or don't go out, don't drink. When you tell them, go out, do what you think is responsible, and come back home by the time you've said you'll come back home. I believe most young people will actually do that. But when you tell them, no, you can't go, majority of the time your children sneak out of the house without you knowing, and they will engage in that thing that you do not want them to engage, because in their mind they're like, what is this thing that my parent really does not want me to engage in? How will I feel when I do it? Because people tend to do what they're not supposed to do. When they're told, don't do this,
that's when they want to do it.
That's when they want to do it. And majority of the young people are like that. So when you just tell them, okay, I trust you, go out, but come back at this time and don't do this, this and this, I think they will do it because they don't want to break that trust, so that next time when they ask to go out, you don't give them the permission.
So do you think that when you make the request, when a young person makes the request, for example, do you think that the first answer from a parent should be, yes, go ahead, because I trust you, go ahead? Or should it be that, okay, maybe I'm not so comfortable with it because of 1, 2, 3? What should it be?
A parent should be inquisitive. You should know where your children is going, who your children is hanging out with, what your child is doing. So I think you should ask your child, where are you going, and who are the people who are going to be there, and what exactly is happening there.
So if you're not comfortable as a parent with that situation where they've told you in truth that, okay, this is where I'm going, this is what happens there, etc., etc., if you as a parent are not comfortable with that because you're looking at the long-term protection of your child, should you then be able to say, okay, well, no, I'm not comfortable with you going And should that be okay?
I think as a parent, you're the figure of authority.
Yes.
And you should decide what your child does. So when you say no, you have to give them reasons why you're saying no. You have to make them understand why you're saying no. And sometimes I feel like we say we should let young people learn from their own mistakes. But sometimes I believe it is not the right thing to do. So, for example, I tell you I'm going to a strip club. It is not appropriate. So you should tell me the dangers, the kind of people I'll find there, and the consequences of going there. And I feel like if I'm a true young person who listens to my parents, I will actually understand and listen to them and stay at home.
Sure.
But sometimes if you just tell them no, I don't want you to go there, you're not going, it does not make sense, because to them it feels like you hate them, because majority of the young people actually think their parents hate them, while what their parent is doing is just protecting them. So you should learn on how to create safe spaces to address your concerns.
I want to understand
this is my concern.
I want to understand this. You mentioned something that I find interesting, that many young people feel that their parents hate them. Okay, now, so what is it that the parents do to elicit this reaction?
Sometimes you find that you want to just go and hang out with your friend, and your parent tells you, no, I don't like your friend. And young people believe that they should be able to choose their own friends. So when you tell them no, sometimes you lock them in the house, because some parents actually do that, not all, but some parents actually tell you no. And some parents even put spies, people in the community, to tell them what your child is doing and what your child is involved in. And sometimes parents really punish their children really hard.
Nicole, outside here, the Sodom and Gomorrah that is happening outside here today.
Thank you. Yes, thank you.
Is not a joke.
Yes, thank you. Yeah.
It's crazy stuff that's happening. Somebody can come and tell you, Mom, it's a house party. There's no big deal. Inside, we're serving juice and cake.
And these are just my classmates.
No big deal.
Yeah.
By the time the sun goes down, and this is a reality. I'm sure, Nicole, you are aware that the things that happen is cause not just for concern, is cause for traumatic shaking of the soul. So folks are saying, if there is even the slightest opportunity that my child will be not even inside there, that their shadow will be at the gate of the neighbor next to that place, I don't want. Not because that child or that young person is a funny character, but because they are aware of the danger and what it could potentially cause. Not that they don't trust their child, but they don't trust the situation and how things have become so terrible. How can we create a balance between the two? And I'll give you an example of a friend of mine called Chika. Crazy. She was crazy. We would leave our houses. Chika, I would never forget, she would wear skirts to the floor.
Yes.
Because her father said, no, my child's leg, somebody will see my child's leg outside, can never be my daughter. So Chika would wear long skirts to the floor. By the time we reached the junction, Chika has worn
a miniskirt.
Let them see the leg. After all, what is it?
Party.
I'm telling you.
Come on.
So, where do you create the balance?
What parents don't know is that when they're not with their children, they're not in control of what their children are doing. For example, when you leave high school and go to university, you take a hostel, you're away from your parent. All these things that your parent was telling you not to get involved with. Now you are at liberty of not asking permission, just dressing up and leaving, because you're in your own hostel, you do not have restrictions. And I think this is where parents conversing with their children, giving them accurate information on comprehensive sexuality education, like addressing the triple threat, HIV, early pregnancies, and GBV. When you talk to them, they're able to make informed decisions. This young person is going to know, I've been taught this, this, and this. I've been given information on this, this, and this. And whatever I am going to do, it is wrong or it is right, because you have the information and now you're able to make informed decision. And on the issue of miniskirts, I do it sometimes also.
You wear the long skirt, and when you go outside, you remove it.
I used to do it.
You see what you've done. She's saying the story.
I used to do it. I used to do it before I had like a sit down with my parents and told my parents that you're telling me not to do this, this, and this. But when you're not there, I will do it. So it's either you understand me and let me do it, because at the end of the day, as you've said, your friend leaves the house in a long skirt, reaches the roadside, the long skirt is gone, goes to wherever they want to go, and the parents don't know. So I feel like just ensuring that your child knows that what they're doing has consequences is very important, because at the end of the day, you cannot control what your child does to the T.
But you can so that's interesting. That's very interesting. So the likelihood of you being convinced by the possibility of a terrible consequence is what is going to get you to make a proper decision. Is that what you're saying?
Exactly.
Don't tell me not to do it, but give me the potential consequences, then I can see that, and then I'm likely to.
Yes.
Okay.
Because in the society today, we find that when a young girl puts on a very tiny dress or a very tiny short, they're usually sexualized a lot. And you find that majority of the times it leads to sexual assault. So when you tell your child, when you dress like this can happen to you. And like you give them examples. Like for example, the daughter of so and so dressed like this, this and this, went to this place and was sexually assaulted. And when they realize that this is something that actually happens, I think they'll go back, sit down, and they're like, I don't want this to happen to me, because sexual assault is very traumatizing.
Yeah.
Because when you're talking about GBV and sexual GBV, we have like a lot of issues or a lot of cases that we've had recently around sexual GBVs. So like when you give them this information and when you show them that, you know, this person went to this place and was dragged and this happened to them, you know, you instill that fear, but it is not negative fear, it is positive fear, so that when they go there, they are very careful, or they might fear so much to the extent of choosing not to go.
The triple threat is what?
The triple threat is early teenage pregnancies, HIV and AIDS, and gender-based violence.
Right. Now, as a parent, Hamisi,
Yes.
those things, if you just imagine any of them befalling your child,
Yes.
they are seriously traumatizing. Just the thought of it, right? Now, here you are, you're talking to your child, and you are using examples of somebody else's child. Like Nicole is telling us, you do not want to be the one whose child is used as an example for the others. So you're thinking, look, I'm doing everything I can. I'm telling you everything I can. I'm doing all these things. But you know, when you're out there, like you said, I don't have control. When you're out there, I trust you. But in some of these instances, like sexual assault, even you, with your best intention and taking care, you may not have control. Now imagine a parent who's thinking about that, right? Yeah, they went out. It was just a simple, innocent-looking bash. She was served a cocktail of drinks. Kumbe it had been laced, and then this happened. And she comes back and says, you know what? I had done everything. I had done everything right. And yet this happened. And as a result of that, the triple threat is actually here. I got assaulted, I got infected, and I got pregnant. You know, you can't go telling everybody in the community, nilikuwa nimemwambia na tulikuwa tumejaribu. You will be the example.
Yes.
And one of the things that parents do not want is that, because it's a tag on you and your parenting.
So on my side, as a parent, I do talk sex issues with my children. I even have condoms in my house, male and female condoms. I do teach them how to use them, because I don't know where they are going to. You see that? He or she is going for a bash, and I know the consequences of the bashes. So mimi huwa niko na hizo vifaa, condom, male condom, female condom, na bado huwa nawaelimisha kuhusu magonjwa, kuhusu vita vya kijinsia. So when somebody feels that they want to go out, have a condom for an emergency. I've not told him or her to go and have sex, but have it for an emergency. That is how I help my children.
You know what I find interesting with our conversations, when it comes to some of these matters, they're sensitive and the attention we give the girl child is correct, because they tend to be they bear the brunt of most of the things that we talk about. But then they're the perpetrators. You see, they don't perpetrate themselves. There are people who are involved in these things, and they tend to be men. Men don't start off as men, they start off as young men, boys. Now, somewhere along the line, the conversation of the consequences is highlighted on what happens to the girls. These perpetrators, because in the absence of the perpetrator, we would not be having this discussion.
Yes.
What do we tell our sons? Because as a father of a daughter, I am aware of the amount of time I spend talking about the things that girls should be careful about.
Yes.
What do we tell our sons?
To be their sisters' keepers. They take them as their sisters. They take them as their sisters.
Do they? You see the question that we were discussing here. Who do you think they listen to in such matters when they're adolescents? You or their peers?
Their peers. But the same peers, when we have a talk with them, we do encourage them to take these young ladies as their sisters, because they come from the same community, they were born there, they know each other very well. But somebody who you meet in school, coming from Eldoret and you are coming from Mombasa, that is another thing.
Hamisi, lakini how then do we have this? Okay, mambo haya yote tumeyazungumza, sio? And then we still have gender-based violence.
What you're forgetting is gender-based violence occurs also to men. Let's not forget that. Majority of the cases we hear about...
How much of it do we hear men being violated and men being harmed by women? How often?
Quite a lot of men are being violated by women. The problem is they are afraid of coming out because watachukuliwa as less men.
That is an
as
African
less of
way.
men. No. When a man comes out and says, my wife abuses me, people in the community will be like, what do you mean you're a man? This is why we do not hear a lot of men coming out.
But if you're in the community and your wife thumps you every day, so people will know. What do you think they don't know?
Watajuaje?
Huh?
Watajuaje?
You hear furniture moving.
They might think you are the one who is fighting her.
There's a point I'm trying to make here. I have heard these stories, and I am not saying that we do not have cases where violence is meted on men. That's not what I'm saying.
Yes.
Okay? I am simply saying this, that the cases that we deal with are the ones which are reported. Okay? But even if they're not reported, let's take the view that there are many, as you say, Nicole, and they're not reported. How do we know that there are many and they're not reported?
As a young person working with other young people in the community, I go to marginalized areas a lot and I talk to young people. And when you create safe spaces with young people, it encourages them to come out and tells you what happens. Like, kwa grao ni hivi.
Yeah.
Most young people don't go to the police station. Like, nitakutana na msichana pale anipige, but I will not go to the police station. Why? Because watu wa mtaa wataona mbona mimi ni mwanaume na napigwa.
Wanapigwa kwa sababu gani? What is it that brings about this violence? I'm talking about where the people who actually inflict the harm are women. What brings this about? Because we talk about what men do.
So you're asking, what have those men done to be beaten by the
I'm actually deliberate in the question. What have they done to elicit this beating?
Where?
Sometimes GBV is caused.
I've inversed the question is always asked.
Yeah.
When there's a problem with women, we are told, oh, it's the women who did this. Okay, now, what have these men done?
Sometimes it's not down to what the men have done. Sometimes it's down to how someone has been brought up. Because when you grow up in a situation or in a environment where you see your mother beating your father or your father beating your mother, you will know that you will grow up knowing that this is the right way to handle issues. Or like when you have a disagreement with your partner, you will know that, oh, I've grown up knowing that when I disagree with my partner and I want them to do a specific thing, I beat them up so that they listen. So I think what causes this gender-based violence is authority. Who is authoritative in the relationship? Power imbalance.
Let me take this discussion to a different level. So if I'm a man and I saw my father beating my mother, then are you saying that I'm then inclined towards looking for a woman who will beat me?
Not really, but the environment. Not really, but I think
It's a very facetious question. Please spare her. What are you asking? Is it?
the environment we grow in, like, literally shapes who we become majority of the time.
It's not as facetious as it sounds. I'm actually furthering the discussion.
Land it.
Yeah?
Land it.
What is it that brings about violence, whether it is being meted on men or on women? What is it?
What are the root causes of
Yes.
SGBV?
What is it?
To men or to women?
It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
What brings it about?
What brings it about? Sana sana ni majukumu.
Eleza, fafanua tafadhali.
Majukumu. Wanawake maumbile yao waliumbwa sisi wanaume ndio tujukumike. We are the providers. Sasa kuna yale majukumu kama uyatekelezi, mwanamke sana sana, si wote, some wanakukujia juu. Na hapo ndio mara nyingi unapata violence inatokea.
Yes, this is a sensitive matter that is best explained in Kiswahili. Yes. In English, you won't quite get the gist of it. What do you think, Nicole?
I feel like gender stereotypes, because there's a lot of gender-based violence, and also lack of empowerment. When we do not empower our women to know when it is right to live an abusive relationship, when we do not empower our men to know when it is right to live an abusive relationship, when we do not teach them on how to identify healthy and unhealthy relationships, that is what causes this issue.
Well said.
Very well said.
Very well said. So kids are on holiday. One line to them, to parents, because we're talking about the role of parents.
Yes.
Speak to parents in one line. What should parents do?
Wazazi wakae chini na wawe na wakati wa kuzungumza na watoto wao. Hiyo ndio njia mwafaka ya kuwasaidia watoto kwa hii holiday peke yake.
Nicole?
Parents should take action, should take responsibility, should have sit-downs and have conversations, factual conversations with their children on issues of SRHR and comprehensive sexual education. And I think parents should also liaise with the teachers, because majority of the time the children are in the teachers' hands. So they should liaise with the teachers to help in disseminating information, accurate information and age-appropriate sexual comprehensive education. Yes.
Very well said. Nicole Molly Abekah is a youth advocate for sexual and reproductive health rights, working on adolescent health and rights. Hamisi Mwambodze, parent, community health promoter, and a campaigner against sexual and gender-based violence.
This is The Situation Room, the only way to start your day.